The wretched man opened the book at page 13 and read the familiar lines. Ivan Rusakov. Divine ravine. Heavens above, they say. And there in heaven, deep in a vaporous ravine. Like a shaggy old bear licking his paws. Lurks the daddy of us all, God. Time to shoot the hairy old contrary old bear. In his lair. Shoot God. When the shooting starts. Use my words as bullets. Crimson with hate. Moaned the syphilitic creature, grinding his teeth in pain. Oh, God, he muttered in unbearable agony. Suddenly, his face contorting, he spat on the page of verse and threw the book to the floor, then knelt down, and crossing himself rapidly with trembling fingers, bowing until his cold forehead touched the dusty parquet floor, he began to pray, raising his eyes to the black, joyless window. O Lord, forgive me and have mercy on me for having written those foul words. But why art thou so cruel? Why? I know thou hast punished me, oh how terribly thou hast punished me. Look at my skin. I swear to thee by all that is holy, all that is dear to me in this world, by the memory of my dead mother, I have been punished enough. I believe in thee. I believe with all my soul, my body, with every fiber of my brain. I believe and I seek refuge only in thee, for there is no one in the whole world who can help me. I have no one to turn to save thee. Forgive me, and grant that I be healed. Forgive me for denying thee. If there were no God, I should now be no more than a lousy dog, a creature without hope. But I am a man and my only strength is in thee, and I may turn to thee in prayer in my hour of need. And I believe thou wilt hear my prayer, thou wilt pardon me and cure me. Cure me, O Lord, forget about the filth I have written in a moment of insanity, when I was drunk on brandy and drugged with cocaine. Do not let me rot, and I swear I shall become a man again. Fortify me, save me from cocaine, save me from weakness of spirit and save me from Mikhail Shpalyansky. The candle flickered out as the room grew cold and dawn drew near. The rash spread over the sick man's skin, but his soul was much relieved. Hash. Mikhail Shpalyansky spent the rest of the night on Maloprovolnaya Street, In a large room with a low ceiling and an old portrait from which, slightly dulled by a patina of time, shone a pair of the epaulettes worn in the 1840s. Coatless, wearing nothing but a white lawn shirt and a handsome black vest with a deeply cut front, Spalyansky was seated on a narrow little footstool and talking to a woman with a pale, matte complexion. Julia, I have finally made up my mind. I'm going to join the Hetman's armored car troop. Her body still vibrating with Spalyansky's passionate lovemaking, wrapping herself in a fluffy gray shawl, the woman replied. I'm sorry, but I don't understand what you're doing and I never have. Spalyansky lifted a brandy glass from the little table in front of his stool, sniffed the aromatic cognac, gulped it down and said, "Don't bother to try." 2 days later Mikhail Spalyansky was transformed. Instead of a top hat he now wore an officer's forage cap, instead of his civilian greatcoat a short combat jerkin with crumpled field service shoulder straps, gauntlets on his hands and gaiters on his legs. He was covered from head to foot in engine oil, even his face, and, for some reason, in soot. On December 9, 2 of the armored cars went into action with remarkable success. They rumbled about 15 miles out along the highway and no sooner had they loosed off a few of their 3-inch shells and fired a few bursts from their machine guns than Petliura's advance troops broke and ran. The successful armored car detachment commander, a pink-faced enthusiast called Ensign Strashkevich, swore to Spalyansky that if all 4 cars were sent into action at once they could defend the whole city unaided. This conversation took place on the evening of the 9th, and at twilight on the 11th Spalyansky, who was officer of the day, gathered Stur and Kopylov and their crews 2 gunlayers, 2 drivers and a mechanic, around him and said, "You must realize that the chief question is, are we doing right to stand by this hetman? In his hands this armored car troop is nothing but an expensive and dangerous toy, which he is using to impose a regime of the blackest reaction. Who knows, maybe this clash between Petliura and the hetman is historically inevitable and that out of it will emerge a third historic force which may be fated to win. His listeners greatly admired Spalyansky for the same quality that his fellow poets admired him at the Ashes, his exceptional eloquence. "What is this third force?" asked Kopylov, puffing at a cheroot. "Sure," a stocky, intelligent man with fair hair, gave a knowing wink and nodded towards the northeast. The men went on talking for a little longer and then dispersed. On the evening of December 12, Spalyansky held another talk with the same tight little group behind the vehicle sheds. What was said then will never be known, but it is common knowledge that on the 13th, when Scher, Kopylov and the snub-nosed Petrukin were on duty, Mikhail Spalyansky appeared at the sheds carrying a package wrapped in paper. Scher, who was mounting guard, let him pass into the vehicle compound, lit by the feeble red glow from a lantern. With a somewhat insolent wink at the package, Kopylov asked, "Sugar?" "Uh-huh," replied Spalyansky. A small, flickering lantern was lit in the shed and Spalyansky and a mechanic busied themselves with preparing the armored cars for tomorrow's action. The cause was a piece of paper in the possession of Captain Pleshko, the troop commander. Dispatch all 4 vehicles on mission to Pekorsk district at 0800 hours, December 14th.